Gaat wel weer vol.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to this live channeling Anna, grandmother Yeshua. My name is Salome and I am here every week answering questions you might have for her or just seeing what information she wishes to share with you and with me and with us. My name is Salome, and for the past few years I've been working intimately with Anna as a guide and as a mentor and functioning as her scribe. And if you see me going back and forth, I'm on two devices right now, live on YouTube right there and live on Facebook right here. So switching the cameras. If at any point during this live session you have any questions, then please feel free to send them in the chats, and otherwise you can send them to me afterwards and I'll take them with me in the next live session next week. So first, let's get comfy. Oh, there's a book of one of my kids here. Let's get comfy and ground. So you've found a good quiet place to sit, to be. You can close your eyes. You're welcoming Anna in this space. And opening ourselves for anything that she wishes to share with us today. So when we connect to Anna and to other ascended masters, it's not just receiving the words, it's also receiving the energy beneath the words, as always. But when we really allow that to happen, it can bring very subtle shifts on energetic level, which then ripple through in the physical. So we take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Really allow the exhalation to be as long and full as can be. So that on the inhalation, there's a lot of space for new life force to fill up your lungs, flow into your heart, and fill up your blood. And from there, that energy starts filling up your entire body. This is one exercise that Anna taught me and other people, is breathing in the golden light of life. So that when we breathe, it's not just oxygen that comes in, but we really actively set the intention to breathe in just pure golden light, pure life force. And then this golden light of life fills up your lungs. And this golden light of life flows into your heart, fills up your blood. And it becomes nourishment and fuel for your heart muscle, for your lungs themselves. And it very easily follows the bloodstream, and all we have to do is follow it and just keep breathing in that golden light of life. So allowing it to nourish our stomach, liver, the intestines, your bladder and kidneys. Pure life as nourishment for your entire system, for this temple that we may call our earthly home. It nourishes our brains, our very hardworking brains that sometimes work over hours, over time, creating all these stories and belief patterns. Now there's just this golden light of life flowing through your brain. And through your nervous system. And filling up all your muscles. Just like the blood flows anywhere in your body and fills up everything with all the nutrients it needs. Right now, it nourishes our entire being with golden lights. And for the remainder of this session, whenever we breathe, it's that fuels our bodies. It's kind of a simple reset to our origin, to how our body might function. And this is something that Anna shows me right now as an initial message, that this is the time that we live in. Of course, we're moving from this very 3D belief system and way of living where you breathe in oxygen and you eat your foods and the nutrients go into your body, and it's all just very basic and physical. And we're shifting into that other dimension, and the gates have been opened. So all that we really need to do is set the intention to make that happen. So if we set the intention to work with this energy and to allow it to flow through our bodies, then it will flow through our bodies. And if we set the intention, or if we ask the angels to bring healing to our bodies or to help us heal trauma, then support us, they will. It's really all very simple. And if we speak with plants and drink a chamomile tea and ask it to bring healing to our inner child, then it will do so. It's all in our shifting our energy and our focus and in intention. So what happens then is this subtle change of just living the life and being here in this time and in this space, and then moving into this really being present with all the possibilities at the same time, and becoming this multidimensional being that has magic in their hands and that creates paradise on earth, simply by weaving the light and the body, light and matter. We weave the light and the matter within our bodies by being this soul inhabiting the physical body, and we weave it in what we do. So if we create something, if we cook a meal for our families, for example, it's not just a meal we're cooking, we're infusing it with the energy that we are cooking it with. And the more intention we bring into that, the more powerful that energy becomes, the more tangible. And Anna is also reminding me of something that was shared in a live session back in, I can't remember when, I think September or October, where she shared also about the power of the voice that's something that we can really fall back on at this moment. And what she's talking about in this instance is the power of affirmations. So in making the shift from three-dimensional to multidimensional, or in making the shift from purely physical to weaving light and matter, and we need to feed our bodies with new information as well, because they need to make that jump as well. That's really beautiful about the time we live in right now. It's not ascension where we leave our bodies. It's really descension, where we infuse our bodies with this essence that we are. So we need to give ourselves new information, and we give ourselves new information by breathing in this golden light of life. And we also give ourselves information by feeding them very human sensations, such as sound. And we can produce this sound with our voice. And so when we say affirmations, we don't just, if we, you can sit, for example, with a mala and then think your affirmations. And it's very powerful as well, because the power of thought and the power of the mind has a direct impact on our bodies as well. But if we would allow ourselves to say them out loud, I am light, or I am here, I am present, or whatever affirmation works for you right now. It's safe for me to inhabit my space. My space is sacred. If we say them out loud, it's not just the thoughts that have an impact on our body, it's also the vibration of the words within our body, and it's the sound that reaches our ears and then goes into our brains, so the brains actually receive new information. When you hear someone else speak, your brain receives new information, but when you hear yourself speak, you also receive new information. So by saying affirmations out loud and being very conscious about the way you want to speak to yourself, but also in your daily life, your brain processes that information as an external source as well. So it's both the internal impact and the external impact. So really be mindful about the words that we use at this time, because they have a very direct impact on the makeup of our bodies, of our cells, of the cellular structure, and the way our DNA is activated. And I think this is already an answer to something that I've been curious about this past week. I follow this Facebook page, Human Resonance with Updates with Marguerite, I believe it's called. And it's exactly that. It gives updates on what the human resonance is doing. For those who do not know what that is, it's the vibration of the earth and the way it radiates itself. And the earth has made a very big jump in energy. So it has raised its frequency. And at this moment, in this past week, what I've seen happening is that there's been huge spikes of energy. It's really like big spikes of white spiritual energy coming in, and then lots of intensity. Maybe you felt it, maybe you've sensed it in your body. You've been exceptionally tired, or actually filled with so much gratitude, or there's been a lot of agitation coming up, or all emotions. It's all very possible when there's this much intensity. But then what was very curious, or what I've been curious about, is that then sometimes in the middle of that intensity, there's just this black line where there's nothing, and then it continues in intensity. And Marguerite just describes these as timeline shifts. So that every time you see one of those black pauses, it's a shift in a timeline. So this is what I've been wanting to check in with Anna about. What is happening in all those timeline shifts? What does it mean in the greater picture, and how can we navigate these times? And taking a sip of tea. Already had a dry throat. Talking doesn't make it better. So what is happening in these timeline shifts, in these black pauses? That's interesting. Last week, part of the information that she gave to us was about the fall of humanity in the times of Atlantis, and then what happened then in the interdimensional fields. And what she shows now is that back then there was this really big turnaround where the poles shifted, and it's like everything got ruptured at once. So it wasn't a timeline shift, it was a timeline break, and then darkness, and a new timeline. And now we are going through something similar, as in there is a fall of a civilization, but at the same time, instead of falling in consciousness, we are rising in consciousness. So instead of having one of those big breaks where we have to be torn from the process that we're in and just thrown into a vacuum, what is happening now is that these shifts are very subtle, and she shows them as little steps on a stairway. So instead of having this very big dramatic vacuum and a shifting of everything um, at once, these tiny little breaks and timeline shifts offer us very manageable stairways that we can climb on. So every time something like this happens, it's an invitation for us to take the next step, to dive in a little deeper, to really come back to gratitude and compassion and self-forgiveness. And this is something that she's saying is the main ingredient to navigating this time, is a healthy dose of honesty towards yourself and really feeling where you are blocking yourself, and also where you are not acting out of integrity in your relationships. So this is one of the big mirrors that we can use, our relationships, and so with friends, with roommates, with our partners, of course, um, with our children, with our parents. Where am I acting out instead of acting with integrity? And having that dose of honesty, and then at the same time as we have that clarity and really are honest with ourselves, with where we may have played the victim or abused the situation, where we were foul, is the word she uses, to forgive ourselves for doing that. Because if we start beating ourselves down for not being the best person that we can be, we are also not able to be honest about ourselves. And we need this honesty at this moment. We really need radical honesty in order for us to be able to take those little stairways. So that's an invitation for this week, to really, really be radically honest with yourself about your interactions and also about your own thoughts. So where could you invite in more integrity? Where could you invite in more softness? Where could you invite in more clarity? And this could also come in the shape of healthy boundaries. So obviously, when someone is crossing your boundaries, and this is the dynamic she's also showing right now, and that's dynamic that we are invited to break free from at this time with the timeline shifts. This is the one that, instead of pushing back against someone's boundaries and acting with agitation and irritation and wanting to run away from your own responsibility, we really take our own responsibility and back to the affirmation, I really honor my own space. So we can set our own boundaries with clarity and with love towards ourselves, and then meet the other person accordingly. And if the other person is consistently unwilling to meet the boundaries, then also it asks for consequences. But this is a time where, she's really showing the power of partnership at this moment. Just like this dance of two pillars dancing next to each other. So in all your relationships, is the closer field, just play with that field. Is closer connection the way in? And where are your boundaries too wide, and where are your boundaries too non-existent? So be honest about this as well. And I also, yeah, always really love how Anna brings all this. So when she says this radical honesty, there's never like you have done something wrong. It's just hey, you could have acted with more integrity here. You could have really taken your stance. You could have really taken your power back instead of lashing out. Or it's not a, oh no, what did you do? That's horrible. It's like, oh, and this is the power of radical honesty. If we really allow ourselves to be radically honest and really set that intention, then it becomes an investigation, and curiosity is the key player. Whereas if we're out to be critical and judgmental also towards ourselves, then we're also not able to be fully radically honest because there's too much. There's the layer around it is too big. So we take away that layer of judgment towards ourselves, of self-criticism, of all the thoughts of how we should be. We take those off. And maybe right now also, well, with this beautiful light team around us, with Anna here, take a moment to connect to your heart. And just can feel her love fueling up my heart. And she's got a great sense of humor. And just her laughter filling up. Lots of relief and release. And then with our hands from the top of our heads down, we're kind of brushing off that layer of self-criticism. We're brushing off the layer of judgment, or maybe also the image of how we think we should be, what we think we should already know. Let's just brush all that off, all those ideas of how we should act, how we should react. We're humans. We're not perfect. And just brushing off this idea that we need to be perfect. We don't need to be perfect. We just need to get up and try again and try again and try again. And if we just allow ourselves to get rid of all those ideas and judgments and opinions and stop weighing us down, maybe brush your shoulders a little bit extra. You don't need to push yourself down anymore. When all that is gone, then what is left is just clarity. It's just clarity and presence. And in this clarity and presence, we can always come back here and feel what was really happening. And communicate from there. And if we are able to do so, then those timeline shifts will be a breeze. Well, not fully a breeze, because we will still be confronted with all the things that are weighing us down, right? Every timeline shift is a step up, 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 up. Tiny little steps, tiny little steps. They're very manageable. But if you were to skip one and don't tackle what is being presented in that step, then the next step will be harder because you will have to go from there where you left to there where the energy is actually going. So the confrontations that life will present you will become bigger and more intense. Whereas if we invite in this space of self-investigation, radical honesty, self-forgiveness, and aligned action. Let's not forget aligned embodied action, because we can rationalize and spiritualize everything, but then it's still not an embodied sensation. We still do not go through our own messes, and we still do not grasp this opportunity to really take those steps up. Those tiny little steps up. So when life brings up these old, what's the word for that? She's showing me right now is like that your like intestines or your stomach is being tied into a knot. So when life is bringing up these sensations in your body and these thoughts and these emotions and interactions, you take a step back, come back here and feel what is really going on and how can I communicate myself in a better way? How can I remain in connection with myself while navigating this relationship? And if we are able to do that, then these timeline shifts will be an absolutely wonderful experience because every time you do, the reward is also amazing. It's just amazing. If we allow ourselves to go through, then the space that opens up for joy and gratitude and peace and pleasure and more gratitude and joy and peace is every single time will become bigger and bigger and bigger. This was obviously always the case because everything that you clean up can be filled with new energy. But right now, this opportunity is even bigger because we're going through those timeline shifts where we are stepping up in energy and stepping up in energy. So the energy that can come in when we connect to the earth with the new space that we have liberated in our systems, then it has a very deep impact on our base level, base state of being, basic state of being. And this is the beauty of really going through the emotions. She shows us the body opens up so that we can actually become part of the earth, connect to the earth. And if we connect to the earth, then that energy will become part of us. The only thing we need to do is be radically honest and create that space within ourselves. So say your affirmations and ground and enjoy this investigation. Go into it with all the curiosity you can muster. And a healthy dose of laughing at yourself is always a good thing. Like, oh, cutie. Oh, did you get yourself into this mess? Okay. Ah, yeah. Lots of fear. And we hold ourselves. And we take the very brave step of aligned and embodied action, flowing out of radical honesty. So with this invitation, I will leave you here tonight, and I wish you a very beautiful, powerful time investigating your responses and reactions and a blissful receiving of new golden light into your body. May it fuel you, may it nourish you, may it lift you up, and may we surf through these timeline shifts with all the grace and happiness and healthy expectations and have fun with them and see them for the opportunity that they are. So have a blessed evening, everyone, and a blessed week, and we'll see you next week.